And welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. Today, we're going to be talking about the latest update around Terry McLaurin and his looming contract extension. And so before we go ahead and we jump into it, I first want to remind you to hit that subscribe button, just like Jayden Daniels is going to be hitting Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, Zach Ertz, and many others for multiple touchdowns this upcoming season. And so in exchange for hitting that subscribe button, I'm going to give you nothing but daily content around the Washington Commanders. And so make sure you hit that like, you hit that subscribe, and you join the Washington Commanders Insider family as we talk nothing but Washington Commanders football. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it with Terry McLaurin, and we're looking at his contract extension here. And so if you have not got a chance to see the recent news around the Washington Commanders, apparently what has happened is that Terry McLaurin, who has been very present in these voluntary workouts, missed today's practice. And so that is where you're seeing a lot of the articles that are speculating that it could be something to do with his contract situation as he's in the final year of his contract. And so let me say this before we jump into it. Look, there has been no official word from Terry McLaurin. There has not been an official word from Washington, the organization. We haven't heard anything from the players or anything like that. And so this is really speculation. We do not know if he is starting to miss moving forward because of the contract extension that is looming. And so with that being said, this is his situation with his contract right now. So currently he's on the last year of a 3-year deal that he signed that was worth $68.3 million here. And so he's on the last year of that deal. And so essentially he would be making a base salary of $15.5 million this season. His annual average is 23.2. That ranks 16th. That's behind Deebo Samuel, who is at 23.85 right now. And so, Terry McLaurin, the last time that he was in a situation like this, 2022, he skipped the voluntary offseason program there until they agreed to the 3-year $69.6 million deal in early July. And so, that just lets you know the circumstances here and what could possibly be, a result of the contract extension. And so with all that said, look, I think that the Washington Commanders absolutely have to get this deal done because, look, Terry McLaurin and Jayden Daniels, they've been a special type of duo together. And it's just great to see that for the first time, Terry McLaurin has really some continuity. I think that when you look at his situation and just how he's been so great throughout his career, the fact that he's gone through 11 quarterbacks in his career and he has found a way to get to 1,000 yards in all his seasons, all but one. I mean, that is spectacular because it's one thing to go through different quarterbacks, but we're not even talking about the coaches and the coaching staffs and just the offensive philosophy that goes into that. And so for Terry McLaurin to go out there and to get you 1,000 yards and to just be, literally just under 100 yards in his first season of getting 1,000, or he would be 1,000-yard receiver in each campaign. I mean, it's just spectacular to see that Terry McLaurin has been able to get it done. And you just see the connection with Jayden Daniels and him. And I just love what I've been hearing about these two and just that, they'll set aside some time after practice to go over scenarios and things like that. And so you can only imagine what these guys are doing, preparing before the practice and then taking that work after the practice. Like these guys, look, they've been special. And with Terry McLaurin, he is literally putting himself into elite company as a Washington receiver. And I'm talking about when you're looking at Art Monk, Ricky Sanders, the fun bunch, Gary Clark, like Terry McLaurin is going to be in that circle when he is done playing football, hopefully for Washington his entire career. And so you absolutely must get this deal done. I think that Adam Peters definitely sees this. And I think that, look, he's well deserving of the money here. And so I think that some of the things that I'm looking at here, you're probably looking at about $31 million or more for the next contract. And like I said, I think that Terry McLaurin is a guy that you absolutely take care of, because it's really amazing to me that he's been one of the most consistent pieces on the offense, over these last, years or whatever the case may be, dating back to when the team was the Redskins there. And it's like, that 17 is coming, and teams still can't stop it. And I just thought that that was what was amazing last year, was that, look, teams knew that 17 was coming and you still couldn't stop him. And so Terry McLaurin is a guy that you absolutely want to get him here. You want to make sure that he's getting the max work with these guys, especially with Deebo Samuel, Jaylen Lane. Like, you want to make sure that he is getting acclimated, with these guys. And I just think that, look, this is going to be a special year. And I think that this is the year that, even though last year was spectacular for him, I think that this next year could be even better, because, look, he had 82 receptions last year, 117 targets, over 1,000 yards, 13.4 was his average, and 13 touchdowns. I could see those numbers going up some more, especially when you have Deebo Samuel coming into the mix. You also have Jaylen Lane coming into the mix. Like, I think that that is going to open up some more space for Terry McLaurin to be even more dynamic. And so, yes, you have got to take care of this. And so hopefully this is not, a result of the contract extension that is looming. If it is, I don't think there's any hard feelings. This is just business. This is how it works in the NFL. But I think that Adam Peters, the front office and everybody would be wise to go ahead and take care of this, especially with Terry McLaurin going to be just really a huge focal point for the Washington Commanders moving forward this upcoming season. And so, with that being said, I wanted to shift focus now and look at some of the rule changes that are coming here in the NFL quickly here. And so I know we talked about this in the last video, but I figured that we would go back and we would take a look at what exactly got passed and what did not. And so let's go ahead and start with the tush push. And so it looks like that the team owner, voted on this. They voted on all these, but they didn't get enough votes. So 22-10, they needed 24. And so the tush push is going to be available for everybody in the NFL next season, just to let you know. And like I said the last show, look, if you want to stop it, then you need to stop the Eagles from getting into short yardage. And so hopefully, we don't have to worry about that, and we're moving on past them and heading to the Super Bowl this upcoming season. And so next, the onside kicks. Look, you can do that at any time. The one thing that I don't like about that is it's still to the trailing teams. I remember before, back in the day, you used to be able to do the onside kick whenever you wanted to. And honestly speaking, I would love to see it go back to that, because, look, if you go down and you score on a team 7-0, and then you want to try to get a possession back and catch a team sleeping, why not give yourself or give that team the opportunity to go for an onside kick? And so that's my personal opinion with that. But look, it's teams that are trailing, and then that's going to be kicked at the 35 or 34 and not the 35. You need to declare for that. Next up, teams are now going to be allowed to send players to the Olympics. And so remember, we talked about that. So one player from each team can go over there and play in the Olympics. So that is super cool. That is going to run into the training camp. So the first week, I think, of the training camp is when the Olympics and stuff like that will be taking place. And so that's something to note. Next up, with international players or international pathway players, they don't have any restrictions. They're going to be able to play in the Olympics. Lastly, the playoff reseeding, that actually got dropped at the last moment. That was something that was submitted by the Lions, I believe. Did not get enough, favors, or not favors, I should say, but they didn't get enough to back that vote to where they wanted to go with it. And so that actually got scrapped. And so they did not vote on that. And lastly, with the overtime process, both teams are going to get a chance to get the football. And essentially, look, if you score, the other team's going to get the chance to get the ball back. And obviously, if you don't score or match that, then the game's over. But then if both teams touch it, and then after that is going to be the next score wins. So it can be a field goal, it can be a touchdown, whatever happens, that's going to win the game. And so those are the NFL rule changes that we can expect going into next season. And lastly, for the Washington Commanders, here is an update here. This is from Adam Schefter here. It looks like that the Washington Commanders and really the entire NFC East are going to be in Hard Knocks next season. And so definitely going to get my HBO subscription for that so I can watch the Commanders during Hard Knocks here. So always excited to just see some more about the team and everything else. And so that is an update here for you moving into next season, that the NFC East will be on the Hard Knocks. And so more exposure here for our Washington Commanders. And so anyway, you guys let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking. Is this more of nothing really when it comes down to Terry McLaurin and this contract extension? Because I do think that, look, the bottom line is that, the team had to know that this was coming. Terry McLaurin knew that this was coming and everything else. I don't think that it's any hard feelings or anything like that. And I just think that if it is, the contract that would cause him to start to miss even the voluntary workouts, I think that you just get it done because, look, the team is on such a great connection right now as far as the synergy is concerned. I think that you want to keep that going. You want to get this deal done, take care of this guy. You have the money to do so. And Terry McLaurin is the type of player, like I said before, he's an elite company with this franchise. And I really feel like that at the end of the day, we're going to look back and we're going to see that 17 was one of the best that ever wore the burgundy and the gold, in my personal opinion. And so you guys let me know in the comments here what you guys are thinking about with Terry McLaurin in this extension. Remember, he has not come out and said anything. The franchise hasn't come out and said anything. This is merely speculation that he missed due to the contract extension here that is looming. So you guys let me know. And as we always say, go Commanders, and I will see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.